Okay. Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner Classic / Non-Classic. This episode number 1305 and Doubleshot number 1189. I got two Marvel trades. First up it is Fantastic Four Heroes Return, the Complete Collection Volume 2. Why haven't you Volume 1 yet? Well, my local library didn't have Volume 1, I checked. This book collects issues 16 to 32 of Fantastic Four Volume 3 and the two annuals from 1999 and 2000. Written entirely by Chris Claremont and Louise Simonson. Yep, Chris Claremont from the X-Men. Interesting. Good choice on the part of Marvel to pick to write this series. Now, the artwork here is done by Salvador Roca and LaRon, who does the first annual here, and Greg Scott. The cover art here is done by Salvador Roca, Art Turbert, and Liquid. Liquid is the colorist. Now, basically, these what happened in this particular book. From issues 16 to about 21, we had Fantastic Four in the negative zone. Yes, the negative zone. In a place called Shadow City, and they're living like alternate lives. Now you're probably thinking, when you start this book, wait, where the heck is their home? Where's the Baxter Building? Where's the Four Freedoms Plaza, or whatever basically location they're headquartered this period of time? Well, if you're curious though what happened to Baxter Building, that was destroyed back. This is before it came back, because the original Baxter Building was destroyed back in the 80s. The Four Freedoms Plaza, a place that was a headquarters for over a decade, was blown up by the Thunderbolts. Why? Because the heroes are back, so blow up the headquarters Fantastic Four. And then, of course, later on, basically, they decided to move all their equipment to a Pier 4, which they were headquartered out of that particular place for a few years. As a matter of fact, the place was destroyed a few issues after this run wrapped up. Yes, by, of all people, Diablo. Where I'm thinking, Diablo? Who the heck is that? He's a Fantastic Four villain. He's basically an alchemist. No, nothing related to the alchemist. Yep, and though, yes, of course, in case you're wondering, they're negative zone. Do they counter Annihilus? Oh, yes, they do. And if you're curious, though, about the costumes they're wearing in here, well, that's the Heroes Return costumes. You see, Captain America, when he came back, he was put in the same costume he had just prior to Heroes Reborn. Iron Man got a brand new suit. The Fantastic Four got new costumes. The Avengers, well, didn't change their costume. The Fantastic Four did. And I actually don't mind the costumes. Basically, a lot of white. Well, in the mostly we see from, the four is not exactly like in the middle of their chest like it was. It's basically more on the side. And mostly a lot of white and a little bit of blue. Yeah, that's the outfit they went with for a few years before back to the classic look. With the old blue tire with the four in the middle of the chest. For issues 22 to, I think it's 25, we have them in Latveria. Yes, Latveria. And at one point, I think it's in issue 28, I think it is, where apparently during this period of time, Reed Richards disappears along with Franklin Richards. And then in order to basically help the family survive, Susan Storm marries Doctor Doom. And everybody's like, what? What the heck would you marry Doctor Doom for? He's the guy that's been trying to kill you for years. Well, it's only the same Fantastic Four. Yep, and oh yeah, it turns out this is not really Doctor Doom. It was also another Doctor Doom pops up here. I thought this was kind of weird. Yeah, then this marriage is completely ignored. Yeah, as far as I can tell, no one brings this up at all. Though this also new character pops in these issues. A character named Valerie Von Doom, who is a daughter of Susan Richards. Her father is Doctor Doom. Well, that's the reason why this marriage happened. And then once Reed came back, the marriage is completely ignored. It's never brought up again. It's almost like Chris Claremont did it. He did it as a mistake, and he just simply ignored it. As far as I can tell, they pretty much annulled the marriage once basically Richards was returned alive. As for Franklin is, don't know. The 2000 annual, that actually basically continues where issue 31 left off. The annual 1999, it's book with really bad artwork. Yes, when I read this book, I'm like, what the heck is this? This artwork is just not that good. Nothing against the artist, though, but wow, what the heck? And this blonde woman here, that apparently is Susan Storm. Yep, and this is the artwork that Marvel artists chose to basically... This is basically Ladarn. Yeah, a lot of the background artwork, it's really good. I like the background stuff, but my gosh, the people look terrible. Yes, this artwork looks so bad on the human characters in this book. Yeah, it's been a while since I don't remember if I read this book before, but this annual, but the issues themselves, yeah, I read them before, but yeah. So it's almost like this artist was trying very hard to impersonate Jack the King Kirby and didn't do very well. Basically, make the characters way too much. It's like this artwork is meant to be a carbon copy of Jack the King, the late Jack the King Kirby. Yeah, this came out in 1999. This came out roughly 6 years after the man died, and you're trying to imitate the man's artwork, and you do it poorly. Yes, the background stuff is amazing. I do appreciate that, but the characters look horrible. But at least in the main book, Salvador Roca does an absolute fantastic job with this artwork. Yes, I like the work he did for, of all books, basically Star Wars. His artwork was so terrible. Like the background looked fantastic. The aliens look really good. The humans look like utter garbage. This is a sample of Salvador Roca's artwork. This is not bad, per se. No, it's actually, well, it fits the art style, being very strange, because Fantastic Four is very strange. And look, here's a guest star appearance by Iron Man. Yep. Oh, and in case you're curious, though, that is the outfit he was wearing when he came back, when Kurt Busiek wrote his series. I think he wrote a series for a few years, and of course, Joe Quesada was who did the artwork. Yep. But this book is actually really good. Give this book roughly a 9.5 out of 10. The name of the book, I think 32 was actually the end of Chris Claremont's run. Let me look it up in here. Hey, let's see here. I know I got the page here. Let's see. Fantastic Four. Yeah, issue 32 was definitely the finale for his run. Yeah, that's the end of his run. So, no, I've not reviewed the entirety of his run for the Fantastic Four. Basically, I still got to review the start of it. As far as I can tell, I don't think he... Let me check this here. I think he did do the start of this. No, it's actually Lobdell. Yeah, Lobdell was the one who started this run. Yes, Scott Lobdell. And it's quite strange, though. He's the one who actually starts the runoff for a few issues. And then, of course, then we have, well, Chris Claremont taking over. Unknown why. They probably did it. I'm not really sure of why in the world Lobdell even left the book anyways. I've met Lobdell once. I've never talked to him about Fantastic Four. Yeah, he only did the book just for a few issues, and he handed off to Chris Claremont at issue 4. He co-wrote basically Chris Claremont's first couple issues, and that was it. Yep. Of course, nowadays, when people think of Scott Lobdell, people think of his Teen Titans run or writing the Outlets. People don't think of writing Fantastic Four. I mean, yes, the guy was very popular for his early 90s his early 90s books, like Generation X. He worked on X-Men Volume 2. Yes, his Marvel books are fantastic. Nothing wrong with those. It's people don't like his DC work. Now, I never discussed his DC work much with him at all when I met him at Comic-Con. Oh, I think it's about 2 years ago, I think it was, when I met him. Like, I talked to him a little bit about his Teen Titans. I thought his Generation X was really good. And I did discuss with him about his time. Well, not his time. Basically, a couple of his characters made it into the movies. Like Bishop and Jubilee. 2 characters he did create. And I show him pictures of the thing like, oh, do you have dreadlocks? Oh, yeah, he did. He had the dreadlocks. And he didn't have much opinion about Bishop and Jubilee in live action. I'm sure he's very appreciative about Bishop. I don't know what his opinion about Jubilee because she was wasted in X Apocalypse. Yep. But I'm sure he'll get around, probably watch. I'm sure he probably has. Alright, moving on to a different Marvel book. This is Marvel Barse. That's the name of this. Captain America. And no Marvel interest for this one. Unlike the last one, which was black. But this contains Captain America issue 100 and 255. Oh, Captain America Fighting Avenger. And Marvel Team Up 13. Yes, a digest book of basically about 4 comic books. 255 is simply put a retelling of its classic origin story by Roger Stern. Yes, the original origin story was done by the now late Joe Simon and Jack the King Kirby. He's the ones that did this origin story. This is a retelling of it done by Roger Stern, a very good writer, who does it really well. It's a bit of expansion on the classic origin story. Heck, the opening page is simply put a homage to the first issue of Captain America. Well, Captain America Comics anyways. Yes. Of course, this was the 80s. Yes, in case you're curious though, Secret Origins, if you ever read the first 12 issues of the original one from the 80s, it's basically retelling the classic origin stories, just heavily expanded upon. Yes, it doesn't really alter anything about Steve Rogers' origin story, it just heavily expands upon his first few issues. Just told in modern context. But that's the first thing printing. You might think Captain America 100 printing. Nope, it's this book. Fighting American is simply put, basically his first mission as Captain America. For some reason, they decided to have him wear an outfit similar to the movie look, and he wearing arm pants. I'm not really sure why the heck the artist did it for. Now, this book is basically the story Fighting Avenger is written by Brian Cleaver, and artwork is by Gurho. This artwork is somewhat cartoonish, but I thoroughly enjoy it. It's just basically him as first mission by himself. It's almost like this issue takes heavy inspiration from Captain America First Avenger, especially as an appearance by, well, the Red Skull and Bear Wolfgang von Strucker. That's simply what this book is. Now, 100 is simply put basically the first issue of Captain America in the 60s. Now, there is an explanation of why in the world that his first official issue is 100. Yeah, the reason is pure and simple. He took over numbering for Tales of Suspense. That's why if you ever try to find Captain America Volume 1 issues 1 to 99, they don't exist. Because the thing with Captain America, he's one of 4 characters at Marvel that, this is not a joke, their numbering is a continuation of another series numbering. They did with Captain America, they did with Thor, with the Incredible Hulk, and even Doctor Strange. Yep, all 4 of these books basically, why some books are really high even though their issues probably didn't produce that many issues, is because they're a continuation of another series numbering. Yep, this is a book Cap's first venture in his first title. Now, if you ever get a chance to read any of the Stan Lee, Jack Kirby stuff by Captain America by these 2 guys, it is pure classic stuff. And even though, yes, it's done during Silver Age, but it's not very serious. It's like, this thing starts off basically with, well, a recap of number 4 with Cap basically being frozen. And then he ends up fighting his girlfriend, age 13, aka Sharon Carter, who, for some reason, Jack Kirby gave her glasses, despite the fact in modern day she doesn't have that anymore. Nope, she doesn't. Yep. But it's an absolutely great story. And then you have Marvel Team Up 13. Now, this is not the only time that Spider-Man teamed up with Captain America. So don't worry about that. It's just simply them taking on the Grey Gargoyle, an Iron Man villain. And he's also a Thor villain as well. Yeah, not really sure why, but it's an absolute classic issue. And it's done by the late Leen Wein, along with Gail Kane and F. Galusha, who does basically the interior artwork. Of course, the editor of this issue was, believe it or not, Roy Thomas. People are thinking, Roy Thomas was editor of Marvel Comics? Yes, he took over as editor-in-chief of Marvel Comics from Stan Lee in the early 70s, because Stan Lee was trying to basically hand books to a bunch of people. Absolute classic stuff. So with the exception of the Fighting Avenger, everything here is just pure classic Captain America. Fighting Avenger basically was actually published, I believe, in the last 20 years, I'd say. Book doesn't say when the word was published, but yeah. So this is an absolute great book. And I give this book roughly I'll give it a 9 out of 10. It's a fun book. If you just want a few quick stories for Captain America, check this book out. Now, I will eventually get my hands on old classic Captain America stuff, like in trades, like maybe Epic Collection, whatever. Captain America is one of my favorite characters from Marvel Comics. He's my second favorite superhero there. Why? Because Who doesn't love Captain America? Yes, and I read every single issue of his comic book since it's been published. I haven't read all of Captain America comics per se. You're probably thinking, how is that possible? It took me 10 years to do it. Yeah, started back in 2004 reading his comics. I was starting in the comics 2004. And I pretty much caught up to date with the series in 2014. That's when I caught up with it. It took me a long time, but I eventually did. And the neat thing about Captain America in this entire series, well, with the exception of the Rob Liefeld stuff with Captain America Volume 2, like, a lot of the stuff Captain America was coming out with, like, he's never had a bad writer, per se. Yes, people say poke fun of basically Heroes Reborn with Cap sticking out his chest like, oh, let's have him do this for a cover. Yeah, which for a lot of people is very uncomfortable to do that. But that's the typical image. Heck, someone actually did took that image and have Cap, like, butt naked for, like, no reason at all. To show the fact Cap America's got a huge chest. Whatever. He's a guy. It was completely unnecessary. I'm not sure. I don't think Liefeld did it. No. Also, if you read that book, for some reason, Cap doesn't have his A on his forehead. Yeah, he, believe it or not, has got like a winged eagle on it. Which, by the way, Fight America's got the same thing on his helmet. Like, yeah, for some reason, when they have Cap in costume, I thought it was on the cover, but I think it was actually one issue in here. I think it was in this book or whatever, where Cap does not have his... Maybe the cover of this book. Let's see. Yeah, on the cover, like, he doesn't have the A on his helmet. Yeah, that's actually the symbol he actually was wearing in Captain America Volume 2, which is here. I make my hands on talking about that book because that book is so weird. Yeah, so not much to say these two trades. They're both good. So yeah, that's the episode of you. Stay tuned for my reviews for Fire Force, Case Closed, and Quintessence Quintuplets. Those will be up soon. Okay? See you next video. Bye.